Hello, Simone.
And now with sound, hello?
Hi. So we are still in the practice one, huh? Um, I,
Are we?
yeah. You cannot see, but I can see.
No, okay, yeah, because I think I only have this one link.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I need to see. I just want to see if I can see who else is here.
Oh, yeah, it says you are in a practice session. Oh.
Yeah, but I thought that somewhere I can see how many people are joined. I cannot see that. Interesting. But I think that if I click the button, you don't have a start webinar, right? I have that. And I also
I think
have.
we practiced this Friday that we could share our
Okay.
presentations.
Hello, Lone. It's so nice to see you. It has been a long time, eh? It has been a very, very long time.
It has. It's so nice to see you again. And
Yes.
is my sound good?
Yes. Are
Okay.
things going well with you? I see a lot of things going on in the kitchen, so I assume.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
a lot of stuff going on, all of them good. Sometimes a little political because there's so much political attention, and that's great. But also a lot of delegations and arguing back and forth with the other universities. But also more funding coming towards innovation and all of us
Yes.
working in that space. So that's
That's
great.
very nice. That's very
Yeah.
nice. And thank you for accepting to do this. So
Oh.
we're gonna have Simone first,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Aha!
you, or I don't know, we're gonna do it the other way around. I don't know.
I just thought that
What
I
would
would be the second part, but
Okay, that's fine. Then we start with Lone, and I will introduce you. But first, we
Excellent.
have like a couple of minutes from Ayutunga. She's just going to explain a little bit our project and what we are trying to do with these webinars.
yeah.
So I'm going, if you're okay, you can mute yourself and I will start the webinar.
Yeah.
And we do record it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I know. And just one practical information for Nigin. I have not been able to solve my Zoom issue, so please share my slides. That would be great. Thanks.
Okay. Megan.
I will share.
Okay, you will share. You have them. Okay, perfect. Then I think we're good. I will introduce Aitunga first, and then Lone, and then Simone. Okay? I will start the webinar.
Okay.
And then is it Lone that is going first?
Yes.
Perfect.
Welcome everyone to our webinar series from the project ProTwin. And before we start with the formal program of today, which is dealing with bio-entrepreneurship, and in particular entrepreneurship in the area of plant proteins, and how difficult and how deep tech this actually is, we would like to introduce shortly our project. So I pass the word to Dr. Kubar from Turkey, and she will be introducing herself as well as the project. Tunga, do you have slides to present?
Yes. Thank you, Milena. I will share my screen, and I have. Okay, I need the.
Okay. I will allow you.
Yes,
and
thank you.
Maybe while you're getting organized, Tunga is a professor and a researcher at Tubitak. And Tubitak is a very, very important and famous research institution in Turkey.
Okay, thank you very much, Milena, for the nice introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome and thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Aytunga Kibar. I'm the coordinator of Protein Project. In the next few minutes, I would like to briefly introduce our project.
We do not see your slides, though.
Okay. Maybe
Try now. Yeah.
Do you see the screen only?
Yes, but we see your desktop.
Desktop, okay. Now, is it okay?
Perfect. Yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
ProTwin is a 36 months Horizon Europe twinning project. It started in September 2024 with a total EU contribution of 1.5 million euros. The project aims to strengthen the scientific and technological excellence in plant protein research, particularly in Turkey. We do this through structured collaboration with leading European partners. The protein diversification concept lies at the core of the protein. We focus on improving our understanding of plant protein functionality, digestibility, and interactions with gut microbiota. And our approach combines advanced extraction and processing techniques with omics-based tools. And our main goal is supporting the development of nutritious, sustainable, and consumer-acceptable plant-based foods. Protein's scientific focus areas are structured around two main pillars. The first pillar focuses on protein isolation, fractionation, including the valorization of byproducts. The second pillar and gut health microbiota interactions. And all of these activities contribute to a broader ecosystem building strategy. And in this way, we link the research excellence with training, visibility, and long-term impact. And in order to achieve our goals, we are implementing a wide range of capacity building activities also. These are including on-site trainings, technical and expert visits, mentoring activities, summer schools, webinars, and multi-stakeholders workshops. And all activities are designed to promote a hands-on learning, knowledge exchange, and long-lasting collaboration across academia, research, and industry. Today's session is a part of Protein webinar series, which covers a wide range of key topics such as meat and dairy substitutes, bioentrepreneurship, food safety and regulatory frameworks, bioactive peptides, and gut health. In particular, we believe that the bioentrepreneurship plays a critical role in bridging scientific innovation with real-world impact. In other words, transforming research outcomes into scalable, sustainable, and market-ready solutions. And on this occasion, I would like to sincerely thank today's speakers for sharing their time, experience, and valuable insights with us. Also, before move on, I would like to kindly invite you to follow Protein's website and LinkedIn page to stay informed about the upcoming activities. And thank you very much for joining us today. And I'm now very pleased to hand over the moderation to Professor Milena Koredic. Today, she will guide us through the rest of the session. And thank you again.
Okay, so first of all, I would like to again thank Aytunga for her leadership into this project and in also the conception of the project, which has already trained quite a few master's and PhD students, and we have many projects going on that are otherwise would have not been conceived, and they were co-created between 4 different institutions, and therefore they cover most of the interests, I would say, at the European scale. But before we start, I would like to introduce Lone a little bit. I have been in Denmark now for 7 years, and I am super proud of actually being able to introduce her today. I have met Lone when she was a CEO of the Danish food cluster quite a few years ago. And since 2020, Lone is the executive vice president for the Kitchen, which is Aarhus University research-based entrepreneurial hub. And it is basically at the heart of the university and is helping every type of research, from bachelor students all the way to experienced researchers, in driving impactful solution and lead the way towards a stronger foundation for powerful collaboration between academia and industry. She has been creating an amazing ecosystem where deep tech ventures in food and biotech can scale and succeed in tackling the problems of tomorrow. And actually, the second speaker of today will be a perfect example of what the kitchen has managed to build. So we have here the possibility to hear, the privilege to hear from the VP, and later on from one of the users of the kitchen. So hopefully this is going to give us a whole frame for what entrepreneurship at the university, at Aarhus University in the plant-based area is about. So without further ado, Lona, I know you have some slides and we will be sharing them for you. So Jokan, I think you have the slides. Perfect. And the floor is yours, Lona.
Thank you so much, Milena. Thank you so much for having me here today. As you said, we have quite a history together. And when you asked whether I wanted to join this webinar, of course, I said yes, because I think the work that you are doing is amazing. And the whole subject of food innovation is really close to my heart. Today, I'm working across all areas at Aarhus University, but when somebody is talking about food innovation, plant-based food, I always stop in my track and say, oh, let me hear some more. This is interesting. This is important. So I'm very happy to be here and contribute in any way I can. Just a little bit of housekeeping. I will have to leave the session 10 minutes before. So if anybody has any questions, do feel free to ask them during or after my presentation, so that I will not miss out on your insights. I'll be very happy to answer any questions if there is time for this. But I'm here with good news and bad news. And let me get to the bad news first. And I'm a little bit insecure on whether I'm able to change slides, but I will give it a go here and see if I can do so. Or otherwise, maybe you can change for me. I don't seem to be able.
If you ask remote control to me, I can give the.
Sorry?
If you ask remote control to me for the controlling, I can give.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Request remote control. Here we go. Yeah, you showed me this already on Friday, so I should have known. Yep, and now it's working all too well. Okay, so let's start with the bad news. And the bad news is that actually we are in Europe. We are in a bad situation right now. If we look at innovation, if we're looking at how to create new companies, we are falling far behind in the international competition, not least to the US. And you could say US is a partner, and what's a big deal? And obviously, right now, the partnership with the US is a bit strained. But also, if we are looking to secure wealth, growth, the European culture, all the things that we hold dear in Europe, we need to have a part of that development of new companies. We need to be able to have sovereignty of the new solutions. And it is a big issue that we see Europe falling behind in creating new companies. Obviously, there's a lot of great companies in Europe, but many of them are quite old, and we don't seem to be able to scale new companies at the speed as they do in the US. US has a lot of funding for new companies, but if we look elsewhere, they have other sources. If we look towards China, they have an excellent policy system. They have excellent state backing for new companies, and therefore they are also able to compete in ways Europe are not. So this is an issue that we need to deal with. But then I will get to the good news. Okay, let's see. No, I'm not changing slides. Okay. Seems to be, okay, here we go. I just need to be patient. Sorry, that's not my strong suit. If we look at the space that you are in, the food and bioinnovation space, then we have an excellent position to regain some of our power within creating new companies. There's a big global demand. We have some huge challenges, and I believe that in Europe we are very nicely positioned to take advantage. We have a strong tradition. We have a lot of experience in collaborating, and this very project is a good example of that. People coming together from across countries to work on innovation. And we do see that we have excellent research. We have great scores in innovation. So it's simply a matter of taking more of those great ideas, turning them into new companies, turning the new companies into scale-ups, and presenting the world with the solutions from Europe that will be beneficial to all. So I think this topic that we are covering here today is important. And I think the people in this room are some of those who can not only make a difference in the food innovation space, but actually also help with the competitiveness problem in Europe. And let me see if I'm moving. Yeah. So I just want to give you a few words about how we look at this, at creating a great ecosystem here in Aarhus. I think if you are already into innovation ecosystem thinking, then there's no news for you here. This is a very traditional way of looking at creating a great ecosystem that can turn world-class research into new companies. We see the five defining players we need to have. We need to have a strong university. In Aarhus, we are lucky to have that. But we also need to have established companies, and we need to have some of the new companies, and we need to have venture capital, and we need to have some kind of government regulations that will enable entrepreneurs into thriving. All these things, you need to have that to be able to grow and to scale. And in my next couple of slides, I will try to give you some insights to how we are trying to do that here in Aarhus. And this is a picture of the campus at Aarhus University, where we see in the middle there's some yellow buildings, that's the old campus. In the foreground you see some red buildings, and that's the new university city where I'm at right now. And we have the digital hub at Katrinebjerg, where we have our science park in Cuba, and we have our new venture capital fund called Delfinus. And also you see not far away Eco Food Park, where a lot of our food research is taking place, and not least leads from Milena and her great people. So we have some concentration here, and we also have something quite special in Aarhus, which is talent. Of course, if you have a university, there will always be talent. But what's special in Aarhus is that the university is quite big and the city is not that big. So you have a lot of concentration of talent. So the companies growing here and the companies coming here have access to more talent per square meter than anywhere else in Denmark. And that's part of our special value proposition. Also, because we are not that big a city, we work closely together. So you will see a lot of work between the politicians at City Hall and the university. You will see corporates and startups coming close together. And you will see a lot of facilities, labs, and so forth that helps create this kind of pressure cooker where a lot of innovation is taking place. I think some of you might know Aarhus University quite well, but just to make sure that we have all the facts in place, Aarhus University has 5 faculties, and that creates a great diversity of knowledge and insights. And I do seem to have a little trouble changing the slides. But maybe it's just my patience that is not working so well. Okay, here we go. So just to give you a picture of all the knowledge that is joined here at the university, we have both the Faculty of Arts, the Business and Social Science, Faculty of Health, Natural Science and Technical Science, And that creates quite a unique mixture of insights and ways of working together. And just last night, I sat preparing for a meeting where there would be a suggestion about how do we deal with malnutrition in the growing population of elderly in Denmark and in Europe. And it was a suggestion coming from the Faculty of Health that would, of course, include the Faculty of Technical Sciences, because that's a place where AU Food is based, but also the Faculty of Arts, which have insights to how does social setting involve our appetite, how can we create ways to make more lonely elders come together and find more appetite for life. So when we look at the big challenges ahead, we often need to go across the different faculties, and I believe that's part of the value proposition at Aarhus University. So now zooming in a little bit on our new entrepreneurship hub, kitchen. We moved just 2 weeks ago from our old setting, which was actually the old kitchen at the old hospital at Aarhus. Now we are moved to the laundry, and we were considering whether we should call ourselves the laundry, but we thought kitchen was a far better name, so we decided to stick with kitchen. So now we have even more space for entrepreneurs, and it's a meeting place where you can just walk in the door, join a pep talk about how to take the journey from researcher to spin out, or how do you go about it if you are 2 students with a great idea and you need some support to mature your idea. So this is a place for all of Aarhus University, but also where we welcome people from outside university and see this as a place where the city and the university join forces. So if you come to us, we can help you with the business development, we can help you protect your IP, we can help you meet investors, create a great team, find like-minded people to work with. And this is true also for those of you who are not based in Aarhus right now. If you have a great idea, connect with a student or researcher from Aarhus University, and you will have full access to all our offering. This is all free. But of course, the minute that you have a viable business, we have a lot of facilities that are ready for you, where you can rent an office at the reduced prices, and thereby we try to build a bridge that makes it easy to go from university and all the way out to the society around us. So just a little bragging. What have we created so far? Our most successful spinouts. And if you look down at our list of those spinouts who have raised the largest funding, you will see a lot of biomedicine. And maybe you will ask yourself, where do I see the food? And obviously, this is an area where we are really pushing towards having more great cases from Aarhus University, raising a lot of funding. So if you have great ideas, we are more than ready to welcome your ideas. Our largest success is NMD Pharma, and maybe if you look at the presentation here, you can see a lot of those investing in a case like that will come from outside Aarhus. Novo Holdings, based in Copenhagen, Lundbeck Fonden, based in Copenhagen, Roche Venture, based in Switzerland, I believe, and so forth. This is all great, but we need somebody who is close to us here in Aarhus and who are ready to have also a local perspective. And that's the reason why we're really happy that we have our own venture fund right now. But the way that we are working with funding is that we try to find as many ways as possible to connect our founders with people around us and see how can we help them gain access to the funding that they need to grow their business. And this goes all the way from very small checks of soft funding to very heavy equity venture funding. And we try to create the best possible bridge so that there's money for all stages for all companies. But it is a major issue, not only here at Aarhus University, not only in Denmark, but all across Europe. How do we get enough funding for our great ideas? in my mind, there is no lack of great ideas, but there's lack of facilities, there's lack of funding, and sometimes also there's lack of qualified people for the growing companies. Sometimes it can be difficult for a spin-out to compete with a corporate. How do we attract the right kind of talent if we have a big established company who can promise pension and steady income for many years and a full career? We need to be better at helping the spin-outs getting talent in my book. But again, there's a bad news and good news, and the good news is that this ecosystem is growing, and it's growing rapidly. So you see here a number of investors coming to our Capital Connect investor sessions, and it has been growing every year since our start. So it's not static, and we see that investors all over Europe are looking increasingly towards university, and also actually many of them being interested in food innovation. So I do believe that there's people ready to invest in great ideas coming also from this community. Just a few words about our programs, not at least EIT Foods, a great collaboration with the AU Food, but also Open Entrepreneurship, originally money coming from a foundation in Denmark who helped us create great opportunities for researchers. And now it's part of the funding coming from the state to make sure that all universities is offering this to researchers who want to go into entrepreneurship. Space has become an increasingly important vertical for us to work in. See a lot more focus on European space innovation. And we also have a university alliance called Circle U that creates a framework around the work that we are doing. I have quite a few cases with me, and I'm actually a bit unsecure whether I will have time to go through all these cases. So Milena, please let me know if I'm taking too long, interrupt me.
Maybe just one,
Yeah.
one, so that we have an idea more or less of how you develop them.
Yes, exactly. So this is SymbioMatch, a company looking at the issues to make more sustainable fertilizers and use the microbe-based in the soil of the local position. And this is a case who have attracted funding from both the funding that we have at Aarhus University, has attracted funding from the Innovation Fund Denmark, and is currently based in our life science hub, where there's facilities, lab facilities, and office spaces, and not for free, but for a very reasonable rate. So company like SymbioMatch will need to have a lot of different kind of support during a journey, and is currently at the space where we are getting ready to become a real company, making maybe not earning money from next year, but having enough revenue to create their own company. So a great example of how you can work with going from lab to company. And should I call it a day, Milena, or should I venture
No,
into?
maybe we can see if anybody has questions, considering that you have to leave soon.
Yeah.
I think it's a beautiful overview of how an ecosystem, an innovation ecosystem, should work within a university and within research institutions.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question while we're waiting for others. I know there's already one, but just so that I'm asking you in terms of what do you think young research entrepreneurs or researchpreneurs should be aware of when they have a good idea and they want to start this entrepreneurship journey? Should they be very, protective of their idea, or should they share? What would be your advice to them?
So I think my number one advice would be to think of entrepreneurship as not a path to take that will exclude you to pursue your academic career. The great thing about collaboration, innovation, is that it opens your eyes to new way of creating impact from your research, but it also opens your eyes to new partners. And often we see that young researchers move towards entrepreneurship, develop their idea, find a company that's actually interested in carrying on the work that they're doing, maybe buy the company, maybe hire the researcher, or maybe just go into a partnership where the researcher is able to go back to research, but will have some kind of role in the company going forward. So it's not a decision for lifetime you make when you pursue collaboration, when you pursue entrepreneurship. Many of the most successful entrepreneurs are researchers at the same time, and it helps them improve the quality of their research. And I think the number two thing I would like to say is that meeting the market, understanding who is your potential customer, whether it's government that's your customer, whether it's an individual consumer, getting a sense of who is actually willing to take this and use it in a way that's viable. That's really important. And for some researchers, that can be quite a stretch to work in that thinking, but it can create a lot of interesting new opportunities, not only for the startup, but also for you as a person. I mean, as a young researcher, you're in the beginning of your career, you can move in many directions, and you need to be as open as possible to getting insights and getting a sense of what am I good at? Where can I create impact for this world? And in what setting will I benefit the most?
And also thank you for pointing out how difficult perhaps it could be for a startup to actually get good talent, because this is something that often we do not consider. You know, sometimes people are, obviously we all want to be our own boss. That would be the greatest job ever. But if you cannot be your own boss, you definitely want to go somewhere where there are perspective for your future. And often startups are actually, especially at the beginning, it's quite hard, right? So it is tough to sell a dream to some extent. And this is possibly one of the hardest part about also finding people that can work with you. There is a question in the question and answers that I wanted to point to you, because I think it's quite interesting, and maybe you can also spin it a bit in a different way on what are your KPIs perhaps, and how do you actually check that you have impact as an innovation hub. One of the problems are the commercialization of project outputs. What is the ratio of commercialized products, project numbers in your university? What are the tricks of new launching products? So this is really probably just reflecting how difficult sometimes is to show success. In innovation hubs. So maybe you want to comment more in general on how difficult it is to actually demonstrate impact when you are actually nurturing innovation. And not necessarily, I mean, you've shown that table with some companies, but I'm sure that your activity is not only with these winners.
No, for sure.
So that's a good question for you.
Yeah. So I see it in that light that we have two ways of creating impact. One is external, one is internal. And in many ways, I find that the internal impact is actually the most important. So of course, we need to showcase for politicians, for people around us, the university contributes. We need to show that we have a lot of cases, that we have a lot of funding, that we create jobs, and we create jobs all over Denmark, and we can show this. But actually, more important is that we are able to help with creating a culture at our university that enables more researchers, more students to pursue collaboration and innovation. And it's not so that everybody should start a company tomorrow, because it's not for everybody, and there's many other ways of creating impact. But just that everybody has a sense that this is actually possible, whether you are working within food innovation, or you're working with social entrepreneurship, or you're creating the new digital platform for the future. there's a space for everyone here. And it's not only for those few super people who are able to research all day and innovate all night and never sleep and don't have a family. This is actually something you can do wherever you are. And also create, of course, the means to do so. Create the system of how do we get merit for entrepreneurship if we don't value the researchers who do entrepreneurship, if we don't help young researchers working in these fields and don't help them getting credit for this in their future career, then obviously nobody wants to pursue this because it will be a dead end if you are academic. So creating the right kind of incentives, creating the right framework, creating the cultural understanding that this is actually something we do at a university and everybody can do it, and it's not something everybody should do every day, but it's there for everybody to use, and it's actually fun, and it's a great career move because you open your opportunities to so many more options. I think that's actually the most important part. And just for the record, I've been working with this for 6 years, and the university has changed a lot in those 6 years. So the internal work is actually it's happening, and it's really important to keep that going.
Thank you. And with that, thank you very much, Lone, for participating in this webinar. And I think it's time to hear from Simone. Simone is a postdoc at Aarhus University. She holds a PhD in food science and technology, and she's a co-founder of NOLA Protein Ingredients. She is currently funded by a program on entrepreneurship so that she can dedicate most of her time into developing the concept and the foundation of the company. During her PhD, she developed a novel extraction method for rapeseed proteins, and then this became the foundation for NOLA. So this is exactly the example of how a project can look at something interesting that may potentially have impact, and then have a strategy to move into a direction that is more related to value creation and not so much only in academic research. So Simone, with that, maybe you want to share your slides and show what you're busy with these days.
So many screens. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Super. Great. Well, thank you for the introduction. I'm very happy to be here today presenting NOLA's journey. My name is Simone, and I'm one of the co-founders. And it's a bit slow. I hope you see the second slide now. You do? Super. Our mission is to create the next generation of alternative proteins. And why is there a need for a new generation of protein ingredients? I guess many of you are researching within this field, and you're probably aware that the world needs alternative proteins that are more sustainable, easily processed than animal proteins. Seem to underperform, and with this we mean they simply they're not able to form the textures and structures that we're used to with traditional animal-based proteins. So with this, we discovered that there was room for new business opportunities, and that's exactly where NOLA's journey begins. And here you can see a brief overview of our technology. We work with rapeseed, or canola, as it's also known. It's a humble seed with an untapped potential and a well-established supply chain. And in traditional processes, the main focus is on the oil part of rapeseed. And that leaves press cake as a byproduct that is rich in protein, but these proteins have a a limited functionality due to the harsh and energy intense extraction procedures that are used when removing the oil. So the use of these press cakes or the press cake proteins are very limited. And at NOLA, we prioritize these proteins. We extract them simultaneously with the oil. And that gives us two product streams, an oil and a protein, where the value has been preserved for both parts. But we focus on the protein. This protein concentrate that contains all the major rapeseed proteins, and that can form the base for creating a wide range of functional protein ingredients that are applicable for foods. And behind NOLA is a team of 3 women, myself, Simone, and I think I just got such a nice introduction from Milena, so I don't need to say more about myself. But I'm in this team with my colleague here from Aarhus University, Kat, who's also currently a postdoc here at the university, and her expertise is within protein functionality. So she works with both model systems, but also more applied food applications. And along with Kat and I, we have Roberta. She works with communications, and she's located in Amsterdam. And the 3 of us, we found each other through EIT, which was also mentioned before in the nice presentation. Yeah, so that's where we met each other, joined forces, and we have 3 very important things in common. We are all 3 very passionate about each of our own work areas, research areas. We found that our expertises complement each other, and then we really want our expertise to go beyond academia and make an impact in the bigger world perspective. And here you can see our journey, which started back in 2022. And that was the point when we filed a patent application covering this extraction procedure. And at that point, I must admit, I didn't know that starting a business would even be an option. But I had a very inspiring PhD supervisor that encouraged me and some of my colleagues to join the EIT's Food Innovator Fellowship Program. And that is where we also met Roberta. And during this program, we started thinking of our research in a different way. We had to ask ourselves the question, like, what is the business potential in our research? Which need does this discovery or this invention that we have had, which need does it solve, and who would even like to pay for this? And quickly we learned that there's a long way from making a great pitch that's able to maybe convince people that there's a need of this, but to making a real business. So we had to go beyond pitch, from storytelling to actual strategy. So we contacted the industry or different companies from the industry, which could be relevant either partners and customers, to test some of our assumptions. And with that, we started to learn what is status quo actually out there in the food industry. Does our product solve some of the needs that there are in the market? And with that knowledge, we went back and we refined our business idea. We started focusing on more specific plant-based food applications. And we started making a more structured business plan with actual calculations. So how much would we one day need to sell to actually, or how big of a market should we look at if we one day should be able to actually earn money on this idea? And in order to move forward from being in the lab and doing research to get a viable business running on this idea, we also explored different funding pathways. And right now we are funded by soft funding. And back in 2 years ago almost, we received different grants with a total of $250,000, and that has been able to secure that we can move forward. It was a major milestone for us, not just financially, but also strategically, because now we have the resources to validate our process. go beyond lab scale, do larger scale productions, yeah, and have a prototype that is closer to what the industry would need. And here you can see a picture with happy faces. This is from our first successful pilot trial, where we went from running about 4 kilos of raw material of rapeseed in a lab scale production to 250 kilos of rapeseed in a pilot production. And that gave us 700 liters of protein, liquid protein concentrate. And even more exciting is, if I can show this video, but even more exciting is that the prototype that we created in pilot scale, it actually showed some of the same properties, or showed the same properties as we have seen in lab scale. So we have a product with an excellent solubility, which is one of the critical properties for food applications. So this opens the doors for a lot of different food products. And that was really one of the moments where we felt that this starts making sense. This is when the science and the market potential starts lining up. So if we go back to the journey, it's not been all easy peasy so far. There's also been challenges, and we had to learn a lot going from the lab and into this entrepreneurial road. And one major thing is the change of mindset. Like when you go from being a researcher to being an entrepreneur, you have to, both things are about doing innovation, but you have different goals. And if even more significant, you do things at different paces. When we do research, we are used to being very thorough before we hand in a manuscript that is ready for a review. We do everything in triplicates. We quantify everything. And here we have to ask ourselves all the time, is it even necessary? The people that I need to talk to that are not necessarily researchers, what are they interested in knowing? What is enough to move forward? So that is, one of the challenges we meet every day. And another learning is that science alone isn't enough. As a startup, you need to have a clear business strategy, and you need to understand how your idea fits into the market. And this is something you have to revisit. We did it the first time during the EIT course, but continuously we had to go back and look into the market. What are the changes in the market? We need to make sure that our product and our idea stays relevant. And another important factor is storytelling, because that's the way you get others to believe in your vision and your idea. And depending on who you talk to, whether it's fellow researchers, potential customers, or investors, you need to be able to communicate your research differently to show how these results can make a change to the market. And that story needs to be adjusted over and over again. For me and my colleagues, protein functionality is a term that everybody knows. But suddenly when you talk to an investor, this seems like a very fluffy term suddenly. So over and over again, we have to zoom out from all our research details or very detailed results to actually looking at the bigger perspective and be able to communicate that. But that's also one of the very exciting things I think about doing entrepreneurship in this area, is that everybody has an opinion about food and knows that there is a need for alternative eating habits in the future. So everybody has an opinion and some understanding of these needs. And the good thing is that all these things that I mentioned, you don't have to learn everything from day one. We have learned a lot, but even more importantly, we also recognize that there are things we don't know, and that made us realize we need to, of course, bring in people who are great at what they're doing and that can complement our work. It doesn't need to be an extra team member necessarily, but we used our network a lot. We used the kitchen, and all these people have helped us move forward. So if we go back to the journey, I added many collaborators and people from our network who has been very essential to this journey, because we have been supported by institutions, companies, funding partners, startup hubs, and all these different parties has helped us validating our idea. That was one of the initial parts of our journey, was to go into the market and validate our idea. They have helped us finding the right facilities for our larger scale productions. Raw material supply, suddenly we needed more than 4 kilos of rapeseed, so we needed different agreements. We needed regulatory assistance, both with our patent, but also every time we go out and talk to new people, we need to make sure that we don't tell too much and that we are covered somehow. And again on this journey, we have discovered that our network has been eager to help us, whether it was by offering guidance or sharing resources, or opening the right doors to the right people. And this has also been a very exciting part of our journey, simply realizing that we are not the only ones who believe in the potential of rapeseed as a future food ingredient. So we are surrounded by people who also really want to create an impact and who actually stepped in to help us. And with that being said, our journey is not over yet. We still have a road ahead and plenty to learn before we are ready to bring a product to the market. We are at this point still employed at the university, and because that is what makes the most sense for us right now. But in the future, this constellation will definitely look different. So with that, I will say thank you for the word. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have out there.
Thank you, Simone. I think that maybe the first question comes from me.
Yeah.
What would you, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Lone. What would you suggest to somebody that just is doing research and found some interesting results? How would you approach that when they talk to you about the results? What would you suggest to them? How would you advise them?
That will be like, one of the points I made. I would definitely go and validate my idea, try to find some people in the relevant area, in a company, or maybe people who have been in this business for years. In our case, it's other ingredient companies. Go and ask them if this is something they would buy, or what it would take for them to buy it, which modifications. So it would be simply to get your idea validated by more than one person.
Thank you. I believe there are a couple of questions. There's one from Zainab. Thank you for the informative presentation. Do you work with plant-based sources other than rapeseed as well?
We have been exploring other oil seeds, but our focus is on rapeseed.
And one from Veronique. Very inspiring. As a PI, I find it very challenging to help previous students starting a company to go from researcher mood to entrepreneurship. If any practical tips from PI side, I'm interested.
I think that's a question for you, Milena, isn't it?
No, I think you have seen a few more PIs than me in your journey as entrepreneur. What do you think works and what doesn't work?
Yeah, I mean, I think what works, when I started as a PhD student, I didn't know there was anything called the kitchen or EIT. So I think in that sense, it was very crucial. Milena was my PhD supervisor. It was very crucial that you introduced me to all these different organizations. And then the funding part is also essential, because it's a risk making a startup. So with this soft funding, and I can still be an employee at the university, that gives some security.
Maybe if I can add to Simone, I think that the hardest thing to me is to actually let go of control, Veronique, and ensure that they spend their time into the entrepreneurship mode, instead of the researcher mode. And often I actually am the one that tells them, why are you doing this? You're not writing a research paper right now. And because it's really very different what your goals should be. And often you have to also balance between, especially if they're still funded by a particular research project, balance the research goals versus what the company should be, because they should be running into market validation. They will not make it's not a company until they have a product to sell and they have actually a customer that buys it. So they should be focusing 95% of their time into finding somebody that wants to buy their product. So that's really the difficult situation from the researcher perspective, I would say. But with this, Simone, thank you so much for
Thank you.
participating in this webinar, and also to demonstrating how it is possible to be in the entrepreneurship area on plant proteins or alternative proteins. It is definitely much harder than having an app to develop or a medical solution, medical device. When it comes to food, obviously, you have to have so many things worked out before you can actually have a product. And the questions that people ask you go from how does it taste like, all the way how much is going to cost when you actually have a factory, which is extremely hard to do. And often I believe that the venture capitalist organizations have not had this idea yet that food is not the same as pharma or other higher end, higher margin companies. But with that, unless there is any more questions from the audience or from our boss, Tunga, I don't know if you want to say some final words before we close the webinar.
Not a question, but I would like to congratulate Simone. It was very inspiring journey you present us. It's very nice, I think, to hear that a food company has the success. So it's very nice example for the young researchers in our project also. I would like to only thank you for sharing your experience with us.
Thank you all then, and thank you for participating. I hope you enjoyed it and that you actually found something useful and inspiring in this seminar. And thank you, Simone and Lone, for participating today. To next time, please follow our LinkedIn channel or any other channels that we have in social media for ProTweet. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.